Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about dictionaries, but before I go into it, I just wanted to make sure you understood kind of the inclement weather policy. So if we're in the middle or getting close to missing a day due to snow, etc., um, what I'd like to do is just make sure you check the online schedule, especially the announcements. Um, we're not going to miss anything, unfortunately. That's the bad news. Generally, on online courses, since we don't have to come here, I can hand out everything accordingly, and we don't skip. But the nice thing is, at the end, we don't have to race to do anything as well. So we're going to find ourselves in the middle of the proper schedule. Right now we're going to be in week 4, I believe, but you can check out the pieces, and we're going to learn about dictionaries. This is one of those things that at first I thought about dropping, but then I realized how important they are because Python's very good with data, and dictionaries are going to kind of work like databases. So if you've ever worked on a database or know how to put something in a database, you'll kind of roughly understand how dictionaries work. And this is kind of also demonstrates the flexibility of Python because um, I have a friend who's in banking and he actually does all of his programming in Python. So, and he works for a major bank for that matter. So, yes, it is used. We tend to think of, or at least I tend to think of Python as kind of this friendly, easy to use language, but that always connotates, or for me, it always connotates that you're going to use it for simple stuff or maybe really cool stuff that you wouldn't do with any other code, but you can use it for very practical uses as well. So let's jump into it. We're gonna run this class just a little bit differently. As you can see, I already have a lot of the stuff up that we're going to run. And then I'm going to kind of explain, and I'll put comments in as we go to kind of explain what's going on instead of the other way. So, what is a database? Maybe we should start off with that. And database means you usually have some relationship. In other words, if I have a name um, to, let's say, Blue Ridge or any college, you could say that I have a name, but they're also going to associate a phone number, an address, maybe an email with my name. But what comes into play is I should be unique, right? So they might even give me a student number that's specific just to me, because what happens if my name's John Smith? Then I have a bunch of um, maybe people who are also John Smith at the school, and we kind of share the name, but don't share any of the other information. So this is how you would set one up in very simplest ways, is that you usually have the unique thing first, and what's attached to them after, if that makes sense. So, like all variables, we're going to give it a name, and since Python is so pliant, we don't have to define it a um, as a dictionary. We can just give it this basic name. What's going to make it a dictionary is these curly brackets. So we set it equal to something as usual, but what's in the curly bracket is now going to be referred to as a dictionary. And right now we're just going to go with simple dictionary, one-to-one placement. So Diane's unique, she has a dog. Bob's unique, he has a cat. Melanie's unique, she has a bunny, but we could also say that Stan has a, what does Stan have? Let's say dog. So Diane and Stan both have dogs, but they're unique people. Now this doesn't come into play yet. At first, all I have is a simple print statement, and if I run it, um, I print owners, which is, if you remember, that's the entire dictionary, and it just spits out that entire line of code minus, owners equals. So it's just essentially regurgitating that. But let's say I want to figure out what Diane owns. Well, I'd have to go to her superset, kind of, or the database she's in, and call her out, and then it would pass back what she owns. So if I can push play, it says Diane dog. Likewise, if I change this to Bob, I should be getting cat. And there it is, cat. I'm going to make it a little bigger. I'm always worried in this class about this. Well, this is pretty big. You know what? I hate to say it. I'm going to stick with this. We could try this. Yeah, I guess that's a little better. Okay. So now here's where the big things comes in is the word keys. And if you've done databasing, you know what a key is, because key is the unique piece. So in other words, when I say owners, the keys are Diane, Bob, Melanie, and Stan. They're the first ones listed, and they're unique. So in other words, it really would behoove me not to have anybody else named Diane or Stan as we build this. So if I push play, it's going to say dictionary keys, Diane, Bob, Melanie, Stan. Those are going to be all of our key names, or the unique items in each individual record. So and when I say record, that's one of these. So Bobcat is a record. Melanie and her bunny are going to be a record. I'm kind of slurring my database speech, but for this, let's just go with this. All right, now if you get to the next part, you'll see these triple lines, because up till now, what we've been using for our comments is the hashtag. So like if I were to put a hashtag here and say keys are the first and preferably unique entry in dictionaries. That works. Now, in most programming languages, they have multi-line comments. In Python, technically they don't. So, in other words, this acts as a multi-line comment, meaning anything between the triple single quotes and the triple single quotes will not get executed. So that seems like what do you call it? A comment, but this is the problem. It's actually kind of a more of an operator, which kind of tricks the editor into thinking it's a comment. So if I were to come in here, hit tab, and then do this hi, there's no problem. It runs those 3 lines and gets to that comment. If I do this and press it, look at that. It says I have an error. Why? Because for some reason these 3 quotes come up, or single quotes come up. You actually have to put them on the same level as each other, so that it knows to go between not to go between those and execute those. So just a little foible, but they certainly will work as a multi-line comment, even though again technically they say they are not true multi-line comments. Okay, well let's just keep going here. So I'm going to cut those and paste those down here, just so we can look at this. Oh no, I'm going to delete an owner. So just like in lists, you can delete things and remove things. In this case, it's going to, you try to pick the key and then it repeats it. So if I were, and let's take out some of these print statements now, because we want to just see our output and we don't want to have to fight through all those extra lines. So if I hit attach and press play, notice what happens is I delete out Melanie, print owners just like I printed out owners here. But as you can see, Diane dog, Bob cat, and Stan dog have survived where poor Melanie and her bunny are gone. We could take this one farther and get rid of everybody. So just like in arrays where you can kind of add things into the arrays and take things out of the arrays or list, you can do the same thing here, and in this case we're clearing out the entire owner set. So then when we print owners, oops, let's take out that comment as well. That you get this, what they refer to as the empty set. See how that is just the curly braces or curly brackets and nothing into that. Now it's all gone. So we can even put that all are removed, where this is removed based on the key. Now, what is particular, and this is why I'm going to comment this guy back out, is, in fact, I think I'll just double comment these, is that once you have a database, a lot of times you want to search it, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Control X. And what we're going to do is try to find Bob or Bob's animal, pet, in here by searching for Bob in owners. Now, notice I have this guy commented out. This is the old way. So if you're using 2 point whatever, or 1 point something, you will have to do it this way. But the modern way is to switch this. So before it just was like has key Bob, it's going to look up here and see if there's a Bob in there. The equivalent is just saying, okay, is Bob in owners? And if it's true, it will work. If it's false, it will print false. So let's go ahead and click it. Notice what it does here. It says false. So it says Bob is not in owners. And the answer is this is correct. Being that Bob here is not small b, little o, little b. It's capital B, small o, small b. So let's make sure that we do it letter for letter. And of course, this is I don't know if you'd say the fault, but this is the particularity of doing literal strings. Whenever you put them between those single quotes or double quotes, it's got to be exact. And now, in this case, it's going to say true. We do have a Bob in owners. And now we can pull off that information. So I could say something like this. Print yeah, actually I was going to not do that, but we'll just say Bob owns a, and then owners Bob. And I think I'm safe here, hopefully. No, I'm not. The reason being, this is correct, but we have the issue of this. We need to put owners outside of it. So remember, just like this print statement up here, we found Bob's cat by referencing Bob in owners. Well, the same thing is happening here. We have a string literal concatenating it. I knew it drew that. Concatenating it with the actual information. So when I run that, it says Bob owns a cat. Now this sounds pretty simple and straightforward, but later on what we're going to do is we're going to do a lot of swapping, and so we're going to update databases and then redo print statements. So maybe the cat dies and we're going to give Bob a like a dog or a parrot or something like that. Then that we can get that to work. The last piece, and should I do this? Yeah, let's go ahead. Again, let's just try to keep it simple. Is that we can print out the length of these. So again, length should look familiar to you. We use this with a list. We can also use it with owners. So how many owners do we have? Well, we started off with 1, 2, 3, 4, but then we deleted one out, poor Melanie, and now we should have 3 left. So if I were to see that, we could see the number 3 there. Kind of nondescript, but remember, again, you can do whatever you want in these print statements and say we have, and then the plus sign, and then we could say another plus sign, and I guess we'll say, I don't know, I want to say records in owners. So when we run it, it gives me an error. Alrighty, what doesn't it like here? Must be a string, not an int. Oh, yeah. So this is a string. Actually, it's not a string. It's an integer because it's a number. So in order to get it to print out correctly, we're concatenating it, right? So it wants to say string here, and then string here. First off, I'm going to turn that off. So the easiest way to do this is just put a str around it and a pair of parentheses. What this does is it takes the number and turns it into a string. So now when we go ahead and play, that works. We have 3 records in owners. Or if we wanted to just be good, we have, let's run it again, we have 3 owners, yes. Okay, that's the simple and kind of the useful pieces of dictionaries. I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about your project, I think, in the next video, because we're kind of coming close to the due date, and I just realized I spelled preferably wrong. But we're coming close to the due date, and I want to get you guys started because it actually uses dictionaries. Come back, we'll look at that, and then we'll probably have a couple more videos to kind of tighten up some of this stuff, as well as some of the material that's on the topical outline. Okay, thank you.